Well, remember how my previous videos talked about how I thought I had a bad board? Well, bad RAM and a bad board. Now, these G41M ES2Ls are solid boards. If you go watch Max Arcade's videos, he's used a bunch of these boards, and they've been fine. So I think what I got was just a dud, a random bad batch of a board. But Newegg's pretty strict on how to repackage stuff, so it's not neat at all, but I put the original SATA cables back in there, the IDE cable, whatever the hell this is, the manual, which has the CD in it and everything, the I/O plate, and the board itself. Now first, I just want to show you this board, because these boards are pretty nice. This is my workshop, the floor. This is the Gigabyte board of which I'm talking about. Now, the newer versions of this board since 1.1 have had blue RAM slots. The old one that I have in the server over there that I put back in there is a revision 1.0 board, which has yellow RAM slots. And thankfully was given to me by Sansui 350A as payment owed, basically. Now, these boards, they pack a lot of stuff onto these boards. First, let's just take a look at what you get on here. You get standard PS2 ports. You get parallel, serial, and VGA for the onboard video. You get 4 USB ports, Ethernet, onboard sound, stereo onboard sound, because who the hell uses onboard surround sound? Buy a sound card, damn it. One thing I noticed that was kind of nice is it has both HD audio and AC97 on the board, so you can use either one. It's got the P4 power plug for the processor. I call it the P4 because that's around the era of when it came out. It only has 2 RAM slots, but it can go up to 8 gigs of RAM, which is pretty nice. And it's got 4 SATA ports. This layout's kind of random, like this thing's just here, but that's really good because if you have a big video card, it doesn't get in the way of the SATA ports. 24-pin power connector, IDE header, which IDE headers, I always love IDE headers on a board because you don't have to waste a SATA port on a DVD drive. Then you can just use the IDE header for the DVD drive, and you can fit more drives into your case. There's the chipset. There's one chipset. There's another chipset. And notice I put the plastic thing back on. We'll take that off just to look at the socket for socket 775. Nice thing about these Intel sockets is they're really well secured down. There you go. The pins are on the board. And I believe that there is a pin that's a little bit... looks lopsided to me. I don't know. It was like that when I opened the box, too. So it was like this when I opened the box. I put a processor in and it worked, so I assumed that socket was good. That might be the root of the problem, though. I'm not sure. But when I got the board, it had that little thing on it. I guarantee you it did. I swear to God. That's probably why I'm having the problems I'm having. But either way, I'm going to send it back for a refund. Let's put the plastic protector back on. Even though that socket's probably dead because of that little thing there. What I thought was hilarious is that the little plate, the little protective thing that goes over the socket is made by Foxconn. And this is a Gigabyte board. Lol. Anyhow, let's continue on with this board. It does have these, it has the front I/O stuff here for the power button, the reset button, hard drive light, power light, etc., etc. These aren't color-coded, and I don't like that very much, but they are very well labeled out on the bottom there, which I do like. Now, as you've been staring at for the past, 5 minutes, PCIe X1, PCIe X16, PCI. So it's a pretty basic, layout for a motherboard, but they put a lot onto a tiny board, which I like. And this board, it isn't really true micro ATX. It's more UATX because it's a little bit shorter than most boards are, so it fits into a lot of OEM cases. And not only that, you don't have to cram everything into a micro ATX case if you use this board, which is really nice. Now again, this is just, I happen to have a lot of bad luck this month with computer parts and got a bad board, whatever. It worked for a couple days and then it died on me. Whatever. Other than that, these are great boards to buy. Go watch Max Arcade's videos. You'll see what these boards can really do, especially with the overclocking. But yeah, it sucks. I got a bad board, so yeah. Let me put that back on its bag for now. As you can see, I've got more than one of these. The other board I really like that's in my main box is this P43 ES3G. Now this is a full ATX board with 5 PCI slots, 1 PCIe X1 and a PCIe X16. And you can up the and this thing has pretty good overclocking capabilities, so it's a good board. It's a socket 775, takes DDR2 800. It's a nice board. I like it. But for now, I've had to put an old system back into the case for my room computer. My old socket 939 setup, the BioStar board. I call it the Biohazard. And in here is the AMD Athlon. It's a 939 socket, AMD Athlon X2 4400 plus, 2.2 gigahertz, I believe. Pretty damn good chip for how old it is. It's got 3 gigs of Patriot RAM with heat spreaders in it. Let me get a light on this so you can actually see a little bit better. There you go. It's using the stock fan because I don't overclock this thing. It's got a Sapphire ATI Radeon 4550 in it, a Sound Blaster Audigy 2, and a wireless end card in there as well, brought with a Broadcom chipset on it. There's the Patriot RAM with the heat spreaders. This is DDR400 RAM with cache latency 3. It's using an Ultra LSP 550 for a power supply because that's what was in there when I was using the system, and this power supply isn't even a year old, so I can't really judge its reliability yet, but it seems pretty good so far. It's got a DVD burner in it. IDE DVD burner because, wasting SATA ports sucks. And the one thing is that one of the SATA ports on this board broke off because, like an idiot, I pulled a hard drive out of my old case and it bumped up against a SATA cable that was plugged into it and it just popped off. And I couldn't get it back on securely, so I've just lived with the one SATA port for a while. It's a pretty beat up old board, but it works really well. It's very stable, and it's back when AMD processors were good, back in the 939 and AM2 era. That's when their processors were rock solid. Nowadays, they're pretty flaky, to tell you the truth, which is why I've been going more towards Intel. And there's the OS DVD I was using. So I'll fire this thing up and we can take a look at it. It's got fans all over the case. I got a fan there, a fan there, a fan there for the drive, and a fan in the back for cooling. There's the BioStar. Let's take a look in the BIOS. Notice I'm using a Dell keyboard and a Dell mouse on a custom build. It's got a standard Phoenix BIOS, just like the Gigabyte boards do, which is really nice. Light-on DVD drive. Western Digital Caviar Green 1 terabyte hard drive, because electric bill is pretty high this month. I'm going to save money in little ways, starting with that drive and soon something else that you'll probably see in a future video. Advanced chipset features. Get over here. Frame buffers at 16. That's for onboard video, which I'm not using. got SSC and SSC2. Yeah, whatever. Apparently you can do RAID on this board. Well, that's useless because one of the the ports is broken. That's kind of funny. Power management. It's got S3 for suspending. I don't ever use suspend because it's useless, so yeah. HHD power down is, or HDD power down is disabled because that'll do weird things. AMD cool and quiet, that'll help with a bunch of crap, considering that change that to PCIe actually. PC health. I have the shutdown temperature at 60. Smart fan is on. And there's all the speeds and everything. Voltage battery. CPU right now is at 35 degrees Celsius. So, not too bad. It's about average, I'd say. Between 30 and 40 is what I aim for in CPU temperature. Overclock navigator. So this board was made to overclock. So you could probably do quite a bit with this. You could do automated or manual. It was a damn good board for its time. It's a shame that they don't make boards like they used to anymore. This board is from 2006. So let's restart. And we'll boot into an operating system. Now, normally I would have gone ahead and just put Windows on this thing, but the board's going to change anyway, so I don't see the point. So I dug out, I burnt a Linux Mint 10 CD and just stuck it on here because I wanted to get a working system very quickly, and Linux Mint is very good for that since a lot of the codecs are installed out of the box. Alright, and here we go. We'll take a look at how the system is a little bit after this thing's booted. This is Linux Mint 10 64-bit with 3 gigs of RAM, so, you know, it takes a little bit of more advantage of it. Good news is it'll run some of the games that I play, such as Minecraft, pretty well, so no issues there. I also have the Sansui hooked up, so you'll be able to hear some sound out of this thing. As soon as it decides to load up. It was doing the same thing on the Dell too. I think this ATI card is a little dinged because it doesn't seem to work properly for whatever reason. I don't know. Let's reset it and find out. Nothing showed up on the screen, so I assume this ATI card has problems. In fact, it likely does have problems, so yeah. I gotta use what I can, though. Hell, I might have to pull my, I might just have to use another computer for a while. There we go. Linux Mint 10, let's boot this thing up again. No, don't do stupid things this time. Actually boot. And just to clarify, this is not an issue with the operating system. This is an issue with the ATI card that's in there because Sapphire makes crappy cards. Hence the broken one here. There we go. Yeah. This Sapphire card's very flaky. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Let's load up into Linux Mint 10 here. Nice little startup sound. There you go. I have a working system. And there you go. One thing I need to do is install Chrome on here because I'm not a fan of Firefox, so that might be a good way to test how fast this thing is. Let's go to chrome.google.com. Alright. Accept and install. Mint uses Gigabyte by default, which is nice. But I'm going to save that one. Because Firefox is not my choice of browser right now. It's a pretty quick system for how old it is, too. The 939s, I've used a 939 since 2005, and gone through various 939 boards as well, so. And I found a board that's just very stable and works well. There's Google Chrome. It opens up Gigabyte. I'm sure computers could go faster than this, but for how old it is, it's pretty good. There you go. So that's the story here. I had to use a very old working system that's falling apart but stable as hell board to offset this bad board here. I put a Pentium 4 in this board earlier, and which I've used on the board in there, which is the exact same model, just a different revision. And this board did not want to post at all. And I'm willing to bet it's because of that little pin thing on the socket 775. That's the downside of LGA sockets, is that when a pin is broken, your entire board is gone. Your board is just fucked. You can't just find another processor and stick it in there like you can with some of the PGA sockets from back in the 478 days and today's AMD machines. But AMD's chipsets have gone to shit as of late, so I'm using Intel ones. But this is an old chipset. This is an Enforce chipset that's actually kind of stable on this board, which is surprising because normally they suck. So we'll take a look at. Okay, I'm gonna add this. I'm gonna move this back to into. Let's get Firefox out of here. Stick Chrome in its place. Yay, Google Chrome. Much faster browser. Much faster browser. Let's see if it goes to YouTube properly. Earlier I was getting a Russian site when I went to YouTube, which made no sense at all. Let's see if I have that same problem again. Nope, YouTube will load it up just fine. Alright. Cool. So we'll take a look at what's in this computer right now. By taking a look at system monitor, it's a dual-core CPU. It's got 3 gigs of RAM, but it's reading 2.9 for, whatever reason. I gave it 4.5 gigs of swap. File systems are all ext3 because I trust it more on hard drives. ext4 is much better on SSDs though. Linux Mint 10, which is Ubuntu 10.10, basically. There you go. AMD Athlon 64X2 4400 plus. There you have it. That is my working system I got here. This is only temporary though. I'm going to be buying an Atom board, and I'm going to put it in this. I don't know if it's going to be this case or a different case. I'm not quite sure about that yet, but I know. It'll be sorted out. But it's going to be an Atom ITX form factor board. I'm going to be sticking in an ATX or micro ATX case. And that's going to be doing my stuff. That's going to be a server board. And that'll be a future video at some point once I get everything ordered. But for now, I have to run on a 939 system that was my that used to be my main machine not a year ago. So back to home sweet home again, I guess. Either way, yeah, that's what's going on with my computers. All that fun stuff. Thought I'd make a video about it. And yeah, so have a good one, everybody. Ciao.